Hello, and welcome to Lesson 5.2b, Writing Equations in Standard and Point Slope Form. Our focus for today is the standard portion of that title. Our objective, I can write equations of lines in standard form. What is standard form, you might be asking? It is this right here. ax plus by equals c, and this is where a, b, and c are real numbers, and we're going to add in a caveat, they are also integers. And a and b are not both equal to 0. One of them can be, but not both of them. All right. Let's take a look at letter A. We're going to change our form into standard form, and here we're given one in point slope that we learned yesterday. So the first thing I want to do is I want to distribute. So we have y minus 1 equals negative 2/5 times, or sorry, negative 2/5 x, and that's going to be plus negative 6/5. Now you'll remember at the beginning I said that standard form is integers, so not fractions. So I'm going to need to multiply both sides of my equations by something that is a common multiple of the denominators so that the fractions go away. And in this case, I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 5. So on the left side, I get 5y minus 5 is equal to, on the right side, negative 2x minus 6. So now we add 2x to both sides. We get 2x plus 5y minus 5 is equal to negative 6. And my next step is going to be to add 5 to both sides. And I get 2x plus 5y is equal to negative 1. All right. Now, letter B. We have an equation that's in slope-intercept form. And so for this one, I see, again, I have that pesky fraction, so I need to multiply both sides of my equation by something to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. I get 2y is equal to negative 7x plus 10. Now, my next step is to add 7x to both sides. I get 7x plus 2y is equal to 10. And there we go. We're in standard form. Now, you have two U-try problems that I'd like you to do on your own, and then check your work against mine. Letter C, y equals negative 3x plus 4. This is already, we don't have any fractions, so the first step I'm going to do is add 3x to both sides. And we've got 3x plus y is equal to 4. And there we are. We're in standard form. Everything is integers. Ax plus by equals c. Now, letter D. We have in point slope form, we're going to do distributive property first. So we have y plus 4 is equal to negative 2x plus 12. My next step is to add 2x to both sides. And I get 2x plus y plus 4 is equal to 12. My next step, subtract 4 from both sides. 2x plus y is equal to 8. Now, example 6 is asking us to write standard form, and we're only going to be given 2 points. So, the first thing we need to do is calculate the slope with those points. So, m is going to be equal to negative 11 plus 4, right? Because it's minus negative 4, over negative 6 minus 8. And we're going to get negative 7 over negative 14, which I can simplify to be 1/2, which I know is going to be problematic, but we'll deal with that in a moment. I'm going to pick the second equation. So we have y plus 11 is equal to, or second order pair rather, 1/2 times the quantity x plus 6. So step number 1, distribute. We get y plus 11 is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. So my next step, I want to multiply both sides of my equation by something that'll get rid of the fraction. We're going to multiply by them both by 2. So we get 2y plus 22 is equal to x plus 6. My next step, subtract x from both sides. We get negative x plus 2y plus 22 equals 6. My final step is to subtract 22 from both sides. We get negative x plus 2y equals negative 16. Okay. Now, letter B, we're again going to solve and find our slope first. So that's going to be negative 12 minus 8 over 1 minus negative 9. So we get negative 20 over 10, which simplifies to negative 2. And I'm going to pick that second point as my value. So we have y plus 12 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 1. My first step is to distribute. Y plus 12 is equal to negative 2x plus 2. My next step, add 2x to both sides. You get 2x plus y plus 12 equals 2. And then lastly, we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. 2x plus y equals negative 10. All right. As you can see by that next box there, it says we have a U-try, which you can find at the top of the next page. Go through the work and then check your answer against mine, please. Letter C, we're going to find the slope of the line. So the first step is to find slope. Negative 3 minus 5 over negative 4 minus 2. So the slope is negative 8 over negative 6, which simplifies to 4 over 3. Now I write that into my equation, and I am going to use my first point here. So we have y minus 5 is equal to 4/3 times x minus 2. Distribute. We've got y minus 5 equals 4/3 x minus 8/3. And I want to get rid of that fraction, so we're going to multiply both sides by 3. And so we get 3y minus 15 is equal to 4x minus 8. Subtract 4x from both sides. We have negative 4x plus 3y minus 15 equals negative 8. And add 15 to both sides. And we get negative 4x plus 3y equals 7. All right. Letter D, find the slope first. We have negative 1 minus negative 3 over negative 7 minus negative 2. So our slope is 2 over negative 5. Y plus 1, I'm using the second ordered pair, equals negative 2/5 times x plus 7. Distributive property, y plus 1 is equal to negative 2/5 x minus 7/5. Multiply both sides of my equation by 5. I get 5y plus 5 is equal to negative 2x minus 7. We're going to add 2x to both sides. 2x plus 5y plus 5 is equal to negative 7. Subtract 5 from both sides. 2x plus 5y equals negative 12. All right. Not negative 12. We made a mistake up at the top here. So we're going to fix this and we're going to cascade it down. So negative 2/5 times 7 was negative 14/5, which means that's going to be a minus 14. And this should be a minus 14 minus 5. So negative 14 minus 5 is going to give us negative 19. My apologies for that mistake. All right. Now, next up, we have writing standard form equations given two rates. A festival sells ride tickets for 50 cents each and game tickets for 20 cents each. You have $5 to spend on tickets. Write and graph an equation. What are three solutions? So, the first thing I have to do is just look at what information am I being presented with. So I'm told I have ride tickets are 50 cents each, game tickets are 20 cents each, and I have $5 to spend. So let's start. I need to, first thing, define variables. X equals rides. Y equals games. And let's label our axes right away too. Games and rides. Okay, so I know I'm graphing it, so I'm just going ahead and getting the labels out of the way right away. Now, this $5, everything else is being referred to in cents, and I remember I want to have my values be integers. So instead of doing 50 cents as 0.5 and 20 cents as being 0.2, how about we deal with everything in cents instead? So $5 is going to be 500 cents. So we're going to set up our equation. Ride tickets are 50 cents, so that's 50 times X. And we're adding game tickets, which are 20 times Y, and that's going to be equal to the 500 cents that we have. Now, if I want to solve this if I want to graph this, as we did in the last section when we were graphing using intercepts, I need to find my intercepts. So we have 50x plus 20 times 0 is equal to 500. So 50x equals 500, divide by 50, x is going to equal 10. And what is 10? 10 represents rides. So 10 rides. If we played 0 games, we could do 10 rides. Now, what if we did 0 rides and only games? Well, that's the scenario of your other intercept. So you get 20y is equal to 500, divide by 20, and you get y is equal to 25 games. So you could have 25 games, or you could play or go on 10 rides. Or, well, we'll get to that now. So 25 games, that's going to be all the way at the top of our graph here. And if we have 10 rides, that's all the way on the right side of our graph. And I'm going to draw my line in. And one thing you're going to notice, I'm not putting arrows at the end of the line because can I have negative rides? No. Can I have negative games? No. So I am working with the scenario that I'm given. Now, there was one final portion of the question that we haven't addressed yet, because we wrote the equation, we graphed it. What are three possible solutions? Well, two of them we've already calculated, right? We've calculated that there's zero rides and 25 games. We've calculated that there's 10 rides and 0 games, but now we can use the graph to find what are some of my other values. So for example, I have a point right there, and that would be 2 rides and 20 games. We have a point of 4 rides and 15 games. We have a point of 6 rides and 10 games. We have a point of 8 rides and 5 games. So any of those are possible solutions for this. All right. Now, you try letter B on your own. We have a media download store selling songs for $1 and movies for $15. If you have $60 to spend, we want to write and graph an equation. Step number 1, with a word problem, define variables. So X equals songs, Y equals movies. Now, writing our equation. Our first one, $1 times the number of songs, plus $15 times the number of movies. And that's going to be equal to the 60 that you have to spend. Now, if we're going to solve for our intercepts on this one, I'm going to start with X plus 15 times 0 is equal to 60. So that means X is equal to 60 songs. My second one, if I want to find out if I just did movies, we have 0 plus 15y is equal to 60. So just 15y equals 60. Divide by 15. Y equals 4 movies. So let's go to our graph. We're going to label our x-axis songs, because that's what they determined it was going to be. And our y-axis is movies. And so we're told we can download 60 songs. We can download 4 movies. And I want to know what is some possible combinations. So we already have a couple. We have 0 and 4. We have 60 and 0. Well, now let's look in between and let's look where we're hitting the graph. We're hitting the graph there. We're hitting a nice corner there. We're hitting in a corner there. So what are these ordered pairs? Well, if we do 5, 10, 15 songs, we could do 3 movies. If we did 30 songs, we could do 2 movies. And if we did 45 songs, we could do 1 movie. So standard form, one of its most useful scenarios is when you are given 2 rates relating the same variables. In both of these, we're talking about money, we're talking about dollars, we're talking about cents, and we're relating it to buying a product, and you have a certain amount to spend for both of them combined. So they are limiting factors to one another of how much you're able to spend in combinations of those 2 items that you're purchasing in order to stay within your budget that you've been given. All right, so that is the biggest advantage of standard form, plus the ability to graph it using its intercepts. But when it comes to writing standard form, you're looking for 2 rates that are relating the same variable. And that's where we see this a lot in terms of money scenarios. All right. Now, that is our notes for today. If you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow. Otherwise, have a great day.